The winds have really picked up. The water's really moving. You can get a sense of just how fast the wind is moving there. You can see it in the light there. It is now just whipping off the Manatee River. It's coming in from kind of the north, I guess, northeast, and the water now is really starting to pour over. If you look at the ground, whoa, okay, that wasn't good. We'll probably go inside shortly, but you can see the amount of water here on the ground. This is water from the Manatee River. It's also water coming from the land as well. But I don't know if you can turn, Neil. Take a look at this. There's a bridge over there. I've seen some emergency vehicles going across the bridge over the last hour or so. It looks like there's one about to come across. But you can really get a sense of just how much that water is coming on shore now. And let me just grab this here. So yeah, stuff is just this came from the river. Thankfully, it's just styrofoam. I'll try to put it down over here. Try to get that behind a tree. So yeah, that's just one of the things we're starting to see stuff that's in the river itself ripping up and then getting airborne. So we'll probably move. We have basically when you do this kind of stuff, you have several fallback locations. So we have several fallback locations, which we'll probably shortly go to. But this is interesting. This is the first time. So now the water's really come over the Riverwalk. And the water's now kind of staying on the Riverwalk, but it's also now washing up to this sandy area, which is about 10 feet or 15 feet or so from the edge, the river's edge. So it is definitely really picking up now.
I want to just emphasize to people watching at home that our reporters, our anchors, they're out there in the storm, but they are in places that we've determined where they can continue to stay safe while they bring you their incredible reporting. I want to go to Boris Sanchez. He's down in Tampa, Florida as well. Boris, tell us how things are progressing where you are right now.
Hey, Abby, when I last spoke to you just a few moments ago, when I last spoke to you, I mentioned that the wind was starting to die down and I didn't want to jinx it. And unfortunately, it has picked up a little bit again, as you might be able to tell. We're seeing the floodwaters continue to creep closer and closer to businesses. Obviously, the flooding is a major concern with this storm. Not only the freshwater flooding with the rain coming down in these parts of Tampa, as I mentioned before, it's about 4 to 6 months worth of rain coming down in a matter of hours. But you've also got the storm surge that has been one of the key concerns with this storm. We were expecting somewhere between 8 to 10 feet of storm surge here in Tampa. I'm not sure that we got there necessarily, but I would be curious to know how things look where we were earlier today at this Tampa Bayfront Park. And just moments ago, you see the lights. I'm not sure if you can tell, but the lights continue to flicker in this area. I'm seeing the blue and greenish pop of a transformer going off somewhere. Obviously, this is still a very dangerous situation, and one of the key concerns is flooding, so we're going to keep an eye on these waters as they get closer and closer into neighborhoods. It doesn't look like the homes behind us are necessarily affected, but we were around this corner a moment ago, and we got out partly because the water started creeping closer and closer to where we were. So there is no doubt that, at the very least, vehicles, if not homes and businesses, are going to be impacted, Abby.
All right, Boris Sanchez, stand by for us. I'm going to go straight to Anderson Cooper, who is in Bradenton. Anderson, you're back with us. How have things been there in Bradenton over the last several minutes?
I mean, as you can tell, it's certainly the winds have died down significantly, as has certainly the rain. I mean, it's still raining. And it's still obviously windy, but it's really nothing compared to what it was. The ground is still very saturated here. I haven't been able to go, into the town itself. I'm by the Riverwalk, but as you can tell, even there's not the waves crashing over onto the Riverwalk that we saw starting around 8:45 or 9 o'clock. And that was when there was that really significant shift in the storm here in this area. So there's a lot. It's not great out, but it's definitely died down to a great degree. I still want to learn more information about water on the ground here. But let's check in again. Just talking back course, I just came in on the tail end of this. How much water is on the ground where you are?
Anderson, it's hard for me to get a specific number for you. I know we were anticipating somewhere between about roughly a foot of rain for the Tampa Bay area. Right now, it's hard to say that it's more than a few inches as you feel the rain picking up once more right behind me. A very big gust of wind just came through and sent a ton of debris. I could see branches and tree matter and perhaps some plastic, I'm not sure exactly what it is, blowing behind me. I can tell you that at least here the water is starting to come up off the sidewalk. It's starting to go into what appears to be a bar over to my left. Yeah, and it's sort of dragging some debris with it, some detritus. It's hard to tell, but as soon as we've been sort of sheltering in a vehicle between live shots and trying to get a view of what's going on, and I watched the water come up very quickly, and the last time I stepped out without realizing it, my entire foot plunged in. So it's about ankle high right now where we are. But this is a more elevated area than we were earlier tonight. As I mentioned to you a couple of hours ago, we were standing right outside of Tampa Bay. And as we were leaving that location, because we saw the storm surge start to come in, our car ran into flooding, and it got right up to the bumper. We got a bunch of water on the windshield. We had to slow down. I'm curious to see, once the storm starts to pass, what that neighborhood looks like, not only because it had already significant flooding at that point, but because it was a neighborhood that had a lot of tree cover, and with some of the winds that we saw, I imagine that at the very least branches went down, plus it was on the waterfront, so combine that intense rain with the storm surge. I would love to know how those residents are faring right now, Anderson.